Good afternoon, and welcome to our new edition of Wake Up Picayune. I'm your host, Doreen, and these are my sisters, Brenda, Virginia, Deborah, and Charlotte. We're here today with our new show, and we're thanking everybody that wrote in, commented, watched, and loved our show. And everybody was asking us, when were we going to do another show? So we decided today was the day. We're going to tell you a little bit about our show for those that have watched and know about us, and those that may not know us until now. So this is our third episode, and we'd just like to share with you all some of the things in the first episode and how it came about, how it came to fruition. And my sister Brenda is going to tell you how she came up with the concept of the show, Wake Up Picayune. And this is how we all came together, the Wilson Sisters 5.
Yes.
Amen. And so Brenda, tell us a little bit about how you came up with the concept for this show and the things that you tell the people of Picayune about what Picayune is really about.
Okay. Well, I have a great love for Picayune because, I grew up here. My family and friends are here. And the people who mean the most to me live here in Picayune. And so several years ago, I wrote a song. It's called My Hometown of Picayune. Yeah. And so I just wanted not only Picayunians, but I wanted the world to know and get a little taste of what Picayune is all about. Mm-hmm. And so I decided that we would have a talk show. And I thought it would be a good idea to showcase special guests on our shows. And except for the first show, when the first show was just myself and Doreen and Charlotte.
Yeah.
But the next show we had a special guest, and that's going to be like our format. We have a special guest, and just to enlighten people about what it's like, life is like in the small community of Picayune, Mississippi. In other words, just share the goings on and the attitude and the flavor of our hometown, Picayune.
Yeah, and that was our first episode of just getting people to know who we were, what the show was about, and that type of thing. So then the second episode was entitled Holiday Edition. We did a holiday edition because we know that families love celebrating the holidays together, and we're no different from that. So we decided to do a holiday edition. And on the episode, just to give you a little tidbit of what was on it, go on YouTube, pull it up, and take a look at it if you haven't seen it yet, the holiday edition of Wake Up Picayune. I just want to share with you that our sister Virginia, she's like the little gourmet cook of the family. And so she fixes special dishes that we all love to eat. God. So on that episode, she cooked broccoli cheese casserole. I know you may be saying, what's so special about a broccoli cheese casserole, but you haven't eaten hers.
You haven't eaten Virginia's broccoli cheese casserole.
Virginia's casserole. Yes. So go on YouTube, pull up you have the recipe on there?
I'm not sure, Brenda.
Do we have the recipe? But if not, you can get it. It was so delicious. And we had a special guest, Jennifer Whitfield. And Brenda, my sister, maybe you all know, you don't. She sings. And she sang on the episode. She and Jennifer is a pianist, an accomplished pianist.
Really? Yes,
in Picayune. Jennifer Whitfield. And so, as Brenda said earlier, we're going to have different guests on the shows from time to time. So Jennifer was our special guest that time as a pianist. So Christmas time was just a fabulous time of the year. And here we are now at our third episode of Wake Up Picayune. As I said, we had gotten some really nice comments about people that had watched the show, and we just want to share a few of those comments with you all as to what people thought of our show.
Right.
And we were really excited, and we were pleased that people enjoyed it and continue. We want them to continue to watch. So Charlotte is going to read a few comments from the previous show. Yes. That we had, and this is what people had to say.
And also, people stop us in town, in this in the city and asked us about the show. When are you all going to do another show? And so
Well, here it is.
here it is.
And Charlotte's going to do some comments.
Okay, Charlotte.
Okay, the first comment, it says, really enjoyed the show. Very interesting. Really liked the trivia game. Can't wait to watch the next show. So here it is. That was from Juanette Brown.
And we do have some trivia for this segment too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
stay tuned, stay tuned.
All right.
Okay? And so the next commenter said, I had the opportunity to watch your show this morning. I really enjoyed you all. It was awesome. I remember you all living cross town, as they would say. And she
Cross
said,
town.
Deborah is my classmate. She says, you all are looking fabulous. I love growing up in Picayune, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Lisa Crawford.
That's sweet.
Okay.
So thank you for our
That's
so nice.
classmate.
Yes,
Okay.
Lisa. Yeah, that's my classmate.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much
watching.
for that
Thank
comment,
you.
Lisa.
Okay, our next commenter said, so real, so classy, so glad you all decided to do this. It's good to see beautiful, educated sisters just having fun. And it doesn't hurt that you all are my aunts. Okay, this is my niece, Stephanie Wilson. She said, love you all, keep it up, and I enjoy every moment.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Steph.
Steph.
Oh, that was nice.
Okay. Another mentor said, my beautiful wife and her sisters did a great job. That's Edward Campbell. That's our brother-in-law. Actually, he's our videographer.
My
He's behind the
Thank you,
scenes.
Edward,
And he
for the
enjoyed our
comment.
show.
Yes,
Thank you so much. You do such a great job.
Yes,
Great job,
So
Edward.
we want to thank him for his patience in working with us.
Yeah, you need that.
And his professionalism with his
Yeah.
videography. So
Yes.
that's Edward Campbell. So the next commenter said, I find this informative about the city. Great job, ladies. Now show us how to make that Picayune gumbo.
That would be Brenda.
Demetrius
Oh,
Washington
yes. Wow.
said that.
You have
Oh,
to post it.
So now you have a cooking
She's the
segment.
gumbo
Yeah.
maker. So.
okay.
Not
Picayune
me.
gumbo. I never heard a term like that, but I guess Picayune something special about Picayune gumbo.
Post the recipe.
Okay.
And then the last commenter said, awesome job. I end up watching the video of my hometown of Picayune. This is a song my sister recorded. She said, and I watched the first show also. She said, I have a little trivia to share of my own. She said, who was the extraordinary church musician for Pleasant Valley Missionary Baptist Church when I was in the junior choir? Miss Doris Wilson.
Yeah, that's our mom. That was our mom.
Yes.
Mom.
What else?
Yes.
She says, a beautiful lady with a beautiful spirit.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing my hometown to the kingdom of Bahrain. So I guess she lives in Bahrain now.
Okay.
And that's
Wow.
AJ Smith.
Oh,
Okay,
Thank you,
AJ.
AJ.
Okay.
Thank you all for your comments. We really
Yes.
appreciate it, and continue to tune in as we come have shows. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now after this segment, we're gonna have Brenda to share a little Picayune trivia because we're so popular in Picayune. A lot of people may not
It's
know
so Picayune.
anything that special about Picayune, but there is some things really special about Picayune. Brenda's gonna share with you now.
Okay, well, I just have a few Picayune trivia. And like the last show, I'm going to read the question and give you a choice, A, B, or C. And you can
Lord.
see if you can figure it out.
A, B, or
Okay?
C.
A, B, or C.
Okay.
The first question, the city motto of Picayune, the city motto, is it A, by valor and arms of Little Magnolia? Or is it B, the heartbeat of Little Magnolia? Or C, a precious coin in the purse of the South?
C.
I would say C.
Oh, y'all got it right. I was trying to trick y'all.
Not this time. Not this time.
Oh man, I thought I was gonna get you with that one.
No.
Precious
But-
coin.
Precious coin in the purse of the South.
South.
That's the city motto.
Okay.
Now, when I was doing my research, there was a lot of information about Mississippi information, and I ran across this question. It says, what is the official state beverage? I didn't even know there was a state beverage. Okay, is it 1A, Barks root beer? Is it B, is it milk? Or is it C, lemonade? That's the official state beverage of Mississippi.
I would say
I'm
Barks
saying
root beer.
lemonade.
I would say C.
I'm gonna say
Lemonade.
lemonade.
I
would
would
say
say milk.
You got it right, Jen.
Milk.
Milk. They said
Dairy.
because of the dairy industry. It was
dairy
industry.
I put lemonade on there because I was thinking y'all would think because of the summer and the hotness, there's a cool cup of
treat you
lemonade.
guys.
I was thinking nobody would get it, but Virginia,
Milk.
it's milk.
They have
Oh,
a
the state
lot of
beverage,
dairy
okay.
farms.
That's dairy
They
farms.
do in the South. That's
Okay,
true.
so remember that the
Process
state,
of elimination.
Yes.
Okay. Now the next question. I'm going to read this. The federal government selected Mississippi to be the test facility for launch vehicles to be used in the Apollo missions. Today, it houses many federal and independent contractors for the space industry. The Space Center, you're talking about the Stennis Space Center, dates back to A, 1951, B, 1961, or C, 1971.
I would say 51.
I'll say 61.
It's been around a long time.
I'll say 61.
61.
Who said 61?
All three
Raise your
of us.
hand if you say 61. Y'all are all wrong. No. You're right. It was 1961. Yeah, 1961.
Somewhere between
Yeah.
there.
It wasn't that
Okay.
old, 51.
Okay, the
Right.
next one says, in 2014, Picayune was added to the metropolitan area of which city? A, New Orleans, B, Hattiesburg, or C, Gulfport?
New Orleans.
I think it's New Orleans.
Hattiesburg.
It's
Deb, what'd you say?
New Orleans.
The answer is New Orleans. In 2014, it became part of the metropolitan area.
2014.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
New Orleans.
Great.
Okay, now, this is a question. Which one? We've had this one before, and y'all will probably get it. Wilfred Lockyer was the architect of Picayune City Hall. He was also the architect for A, the chapel on the Titanic, B, the library at Buckingham Palace, or C, the main reading room for the Library of Congress.
And what's his name again?
His name is Wilfred Lockyer, Lockyer. He was the architect for the Picayune City Hall, and he was also the architect for either the chapel on the Titanic, the library at Buckingham Palace, or the main reading room of the Library of Congress.
I would say A.
I forgot it.
I had.
before, but
I'm
I
gonna say the
forgot.
Titanic. Whatever.
I'm gonna say the Titanic also.
What'd you say, Deb?
The Titanic.
What'd you say, Doreen? Y'all gonna make it unanimous?
No, I forgot. I'm gonna say what you said, the Picayune what?
None of them.
No.
That was the original.
The Lockyer was the architect of the city of Picayune,
Okay.
but he was famous for something else also.
Oh.
The chapel on the
What is
Titanic, the
it?
library, Buckingham
Picayune.
Palace, or the main reading room of the Library of Congress.
That the Library of Congress.
Wrong.
Oh,
It was all y'all got. It was the chapel on the Titanic.
oh, y'all remember that?
No, I didn't remember.
I didn't remember
I didn't
that.
remember
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So it's like we have a famous architect that's responsible for the city hall. The last question: the male-female population in Picayune. Okay, you have to think about this for a while. A, is the male population 46 and the female 54? Or is it male 42%, female 58? Or is it male 48% and female 60%? I'll read them again. The male to female population in Picayune, is it the males 46? Is it 46-54? Is it 42-58? Or is it 48-60?
I'll say 42.
I would say B.
58.
I say B.
B.
4860.
Something, whatever.
But Jenny, you know it can't be 48-60. That's more than 100%.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on.
B.
Wait,
I think-
I thought Doreen was going to say it.
No, B. I think B.
It's
Okay, 40, the
50%
second one.
women.
What's the second one?
42.
42.
42 what?
58.
That one.
Men. 42 men.
So what's your
58.
answer?
The second one.
58. I said B.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's A. 46-54.
46 men,
Men,
54
men.
women.
Well, either
But
way,
listen,
it's more.
so we all-
more or less.
more
That's a
women.
little
Okay.
closer than B.
Yeah.
46,
Yeah.
40, I mean 54.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
more women, so we women.
Okay, so where's my
Women
prize? Because
rule.
I got the most answers.
wait,
You
what
got
is this?
wrong. You
I
got
think
wrong.
No,
We weren't keeping
I-
scores?
Oh,
We
well,
weren't keeping
I got the
scores?
most right. Thank you very much.
No,
that come true.
I don't think
That
so.
completes our Picayune trivia for this show.
Yeah, well, that was fun. That was fun. I learned something today.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know those. I never.
You didn't know
well,
the
we-
official milk for Mississippi?
No, I didn't. You know,
I don't think anybody. I wonder who would know.
Lemonade, since it is so hot in the
Yeah.
south. Okay, well, good. That was great. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Next, it's more of a serious note. This section is called "Get a Second Opinion," and our sister Virginia is going to be answering some questions that some viewers called in with, some questions about life. Virginia is a licensed professional counselor, and she's going to share with people some answers to the questions that they ask about some personal things in their lives, and hopefully it's gonna help them. Amen.
Or at least give them a second opinion, because
Yeah,
second
most
opinion.
situations we already have an opinion, but you know how sometimes we just like to get a second opinion.
Right.
Okay.
And my disclaimer is, even though I'm a licensed professional counselor, this is no way therapy. It is simply a second opinion.
Okay.
Yes.
And our sister Deborah is gonna read the questions to Virginia that the viewers have called in with or wrote in with, and Virginia's gonna answer best to her ability.
Best of my ability.
Okay. Well, the first question comes from a 55-year-old female. She says, "My husband passed away 3 months ago after a long illness. Is there a certain time frame I should adhere to before I can start dating? I am worried about what people might think. I was a devoted wife and I took good care of my husband. How long should I wait to date?"
Well, that's an interesting question. And I would say this. We can't always be concerned about other people's opinions about our lives. It sounds like you, per your report, was a devoted wife, and in long illness, and even though it's been 3 months, you've probably just done your due diligence to the relationship, to the marriage. So I would say not to be so concerned about what other people say, and that to thine own self be true. To live a life fully that you've been graced with by God, and just remain in full integrity to your own life. Do you guys think that's
Would she say she's been? Well, he died like 3 months
3
ago.
months ago?
3 months ago.
So I guess she wants to know is 3 months too.
There's no certain time that that
Yeah.
you move on. I mean,
Right.
you move on when your heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit say to
That's
move.
right.
That's good.
And,
right there. I like
and
that.
other people will always have an opinion. I mean, so
Yeah.
you can't live by other people's opinion. You have to trust your heart.
Yeah, that's good.
Trust the
Amen.
spirit.
That's true.
All right.
Amen.
Sounds good.
I definitely agree with that.
Hopefully that helps, and will help you move forward in your life.
Amen.
Okay.
Okay, and the next one comes from a 43-year-old female. She says, "I am financially stable, but the man that I am dating doesn't have anything. I love him and we have discussed getting married. I told him that anything that I have now before we get married, I want my children to have. He becomes very upset and thinks I'm not being fair. I did tell him that anything we accumulate together will belong to him should something happen to me. He is still not happy with that. Should I consider marrying him?"
Wow.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's an interesting
Well, let me just
question.
give you the stats on this. It says one of the number one reasons that there's a divorce in a marriage is about finances.
Right?
One of the top reasons that people divorce. So I would say that until you guys could come to an amicable compromise and an understanding around what you want to leave your children, and what you want your finances to be like, if you can't have that conversation, if you can't do it maturely, if you can't come to common grounds, I would think twice, 3 times, 4
4
times.
5 times.
Before marrying someone that is upset that you would want to leave a legacy for your children. And I do understand it. I mean, it's a little bit ambiguous in that when you marry, you become one and you share everything.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to get an understanding before you marry and not let it be part of the statistic as to why you're now divorcing. Does that make sense?
I agree.
Yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I do too.
That's good advice.
Okay.
And everyone should have, a will, and make sure that is specified in the will as to what your spouse gets as opposed to your children. That's necessary.
And you want it to be fair.
Yeah.
And when you have stepchildren involved, these children aren't his, they're not his, right? She said
Right.
she has
She
her
said she has
children.
children.
Okay, and see, they're not
her
his children.
Right.
But she does have to look out for her children.
That's right. Right.
I know the order of God, God, then the spouse, and then your children, and then family. But if like she said, if you have to come to a compromise, you have to be able to communicate, and then on top of that, Jen, communication is the number one reason for.
I always tell
let me
couples.
say the lack of communication is the number one reason for the highest rates of divorces, and then finances are second. So that it all plays together. So hopefully they can talk it out, work it out,
And agree.
And agree.
and come into
Yeah.
And good luck.
It's one of those
Yeah.
situations that you're gonna have to
Right.
pray about a lot.
Pray.
Yes.
They
Yes.
prayed up on that one.
Good luck
Yeah.
with that one.
Amen.
Okay, and the next one says, I am a 67-year-old female. How should I handle being contacted by my ex after 20 years?
Ooh, well, it depends on how the relationship
Come on.
ended.
I didn't.
If you left him or he left for good
enough
reason, sometimes
Yeah.
you let
They're your ex for a reason.
you
Right,
let the past
exactly.
be the past. But like there again, follow your heart. I mean, if you've matured, if you have looked at the situation and you're comfortable talking to an ex, then fine. Because some exes are abusive. Users, so if there's no reason for you to talk to him, make it no reason. But there again, you have to use caution and discernment as to why they're contacting you after 20 years. I mean, there's
That's
nothing
good.
to say that you can't talk with an ex because we do it all the time. But just be cautious as to why you left them or why the relationship ended in the first place. There's no rule that says you have to have a relationship with an ex. They're ex for a reason.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
They're an ex for a reason.
Ex for a reason. Yeah. That's what I've
Yes.
always heard.
Okay,
Make the decision.
good answer.
Good job.
Okay, and the next one says, I have a friend who wants to marry a man after he has told her on numerous occasions that he doesn't want to get married. What should I tell my friend?
I would tell your friend to believe him the first time. People always tell you what their thoughts and feelings are up front. And if we're trying to change something that's already in their mind and their hearts, it doesn't work. I mean, that means that they've compromised their own integrity and level of honesty with you to give you what you wanted and not what is best for the relationship. So they tell you to believe a person the first time that they tell you or show you who they are. So to force the issue sounds like it's a setup for disaster.
Set up for disaster.
I agree.
And
And if they do it and not ready, resentment probably will come.
Yeah.
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 And you don't want resentment and anger going into a relationship. So
Especially at the beginning. The beginning part of any relationship is like usually the best part.
Right.
And if you're going in with
doubts,
doubt,
questions,
and then,
yeah.
where do you go from there?
And I would say, I would tell her to search her heart to see why she's not accepting his not wanting to get married. And if that's the case, to move on and find someone who is willing to marry her.
Yeah.
To want to be married. Everybody doesn't want to be married,
That's
just like
right.
everybody doesn't want children.
Right.
That's a preference.
Personal.
It's a personal preference. So she needs to accept that.
And there's nothing wrong with being friends.
Right. And just, move on.
So
Seek God.
Okay, and last but not least, this man says, I am a 58-year-old male. There is an African proverb, if you raise your child right, then you can spoil your grandchild. But if you spoil your child, then you will have to raise your grandchild.
I like that. Read that again, Dale.
Yes.
Read that again.
Okay, he
Okay.
says, this is coming from a 58-year-old male. He says, there is an African proverb, if you raise your child right, then you can spoil your grandchild. But if you spoil your child, then you will have to raise your grandchild.
Wow.
Okay, and his question is, how do I get my son to become a more responsible father? My 4 grandkids, ranging from 6 to 11, have no limit on the number of hours they watch TV, and they can watch any subject matter. Horror movies, violent movies. My son listens to explicit rap in their presence. He sees nothing wrong with this. How can I make him to be make him be a more responsible father? He's a single parent. I try to help him.
Ooh, those children.
Well, I can tell you this. If you're seeking serenity, and this is a prayer that I live by, it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. And one of the things that we cannot change is adults, what people think and feel and do. We can impact it, we can influence it, but a person that changes because they want to change. Not because we force them, not because we threaten them, not because we, bribe them. Every person that change, whether it's a child or an adult, will change when they feel that a change is necessary. And as a grandparent, the most that you can do is to support your grandchildren, provide the structure and guidance that they need when they're in your care. But as far as your son, you have to surrender him to God and allow God to do the work that he needs to do in his life. Because as an adult male, he's not going to change until he recognizes that a change is necessary.
Go ahead.
That's
Jen.
in my
That's all
experience.
right.
I can attest
Great-
to that.
great
Now,
answer. Great
now
answer.
becoming a grandmother for the first time, I can attest to that. To give your, to take your hands off of your children and put them in the hands of God. I had to learn that.
And so can I, because I had to do the same
Yeah.
thing with my son.
We have to relinquish
With-
them to
Yeah.
God.
with a
And-
kind of similar
Yeah.
situation, but
Yeah.
like she
So,
said, I
I mean, he
prayed
has
about
a-
it, and I
yeah.
just
They have their own
you know,
will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just gave it to God.
He has a destiny and a journey that is uniquely his.
And then God.
And parents can't change that. We're not that powerful. I mean, we're not in
Yeah.
control.
No.
So do what you can as a grandparent to keep your grandchildren safe and guided, and allow the journey to happen. As long as there's no harm.
Right. And
I
just
agree.
share, the wisdom that you have
That's
with
right.
them. And one day it'll come back to them. They just have to grow into it.
Plant that seed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Amen.
Well, that's some good advice, Jen.
Well, thank
you.
you.
All right.
Well, we
Thank
thank you
you
all
so
for those questions, and hopefully
Yeah.
you received the answers that you were looking for.
Hopefully, thank you. And lastly, I'd just like to announce one upcoming event in Picayune this month, for the month of June. It's called the History of Juneteenth. Juneteenth. And it's just the event of the celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States. That's what Juneteenth is representative of. And we're gonna have a program at J.P. Johnson Park at 415 Rosa Street in Picayune on Saturday, June 15th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're interested in finding out a little more about slavery, black history, and the such, come out to J.P. Park on Rosa Street.
J.P. Johnson.
J.P. Johnson Park at 415 Rosa Street on Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's very informative. I talked to one of the ladies, Kim Caesar, and she was just saying how informative it's going to be, and they're going to have a lot of presentations and booths. So it's going to be a nice family community celebration. So I just encourage everybody to come out and be a part of it.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, and some other upcoming events in Picayune is on July the 3rd of this year, part of the G.W. Carver reunion. The class of 1967 is paying tribute to the former queens. That's the former queens of G.W. Carver High School.
Nice.
And I just happen to have a photo of one of the previous queens. It's on this photo. This is a portrait of Picayune, G.W. Carver High School queen for the year 1963. And at the time this was taken, it was in black and white. So you had to, if you wanted color, you had to paint the picture to get the color. So that's what it is. And this is a queen from 1963, and this is Bernice Norman Chiselle, our auntie.
Yes.
1963.
Wow.
So this is a
Yeah,
tribute
that's-
from the class of 67 for the
That's
for her.
really impressive. Though.
And other upcoming events. October 26th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. there's the 12th annual Blues and Heritage Festival.
Yeah.
That's coming up in October. And then in November 2nd and 3rd, the Picayune Street Fair Festival. And the feast will include vendors, entertainment, classic car show, train rides, children activities, food booths. And then in December, Shop by Candlelight and Christmas on the Rails.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh yeah, you sang there. that
Several
time.
years ago. They said locally owned downtown shops will be decorated and stocked with gift ideas.
Nice.
Christmas music will fill the air. So that's just a
That's
little.
nice. Really nice.
So that's just
coming up.
some events that are coming up in our great city, Picayune.
Yes.
That's fun. That downtown, that Christmas,
Right.
On riding, walking up and down,
And all the
the
lights
streets
and everything
going in and out of the
decorated and
stores.
stuff.
That was
It
so
sounds-
nice. I
sounds
went
nice.
there one
Sounds
year.
really nice.
Yeah. Welcome back to our show. We'd like to introduce you to a new and upcoming artist in the music industry. It's so exciting to us because he's not only on his way up to being a celebrity, but he's family. He's our cousin. And we're so excited to have him on the show today. And he was the one of the semifinalists on the popular show that we all just watched. I'm pretty sure America watched it, The Voice. And he is such a phenomenon. So we're so pleased to have him on our show today. We want you to welcome him with us. His name is Sean Sound. Well, Sean, welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
thank
We're
you.
so glad to have you here today on our show.
Glad to be here.
You have been a busy person.
Yes, yes.
Tell us, that's what we want to know about. We want to know and tell America what your experience was like on The Voice.
Right, okay.
Yes, yes.
Well, it's really simple. I'm a middle school teacher, and I sing in my classroom a lot, and sometimes I take videos, sometimes I don't. And last year in March, I uploaded a few videos of me singing to the internet, and it got into the hands of the casting producers of the show. So they reached out to me and offered me an opportunity to have a private executive audition with the producers of the show.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I did that, and that was very cool. And it was like, well, we like you, so we want you to come back. And I went back again to meet with them, but this time I had to kind of like almost compete with a few other people who had the same opportunity to meet with the executive producer. So they kind of vetted through us then, and then the very next time I met with them, I was actually doing the blind audition.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
my experience has been awesome. Yeah, you know, the process changed this year. This was season 16. The first 15 seasons, the way that the format of the show was, it was the blind auditions, the battle rounds, and then what was called the knockouts. But this particular year, they wanted to change the format of the show to make it a bit more fun and entertaining. So, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of long hours, long days, but it was well worth it. So, I enjoyed it.
And we were just so excited. Oh my goodness. We just couldn't wait till Monday night and Tuesday because I started watching The Voice. I probably like at the 10th one. So this is like my 6th one.
Okay.
So I never paid as close attention to it, of course, as I have with the last one. But we're just so excited. We've just been so excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I have a question. I want to know. I really like the wardrobe. Your wardrobe change every week. Did you get to choose your wardrobe, or did the show pick it out for you?
That's a good question. Well, for the very first episode, the blind audition, I pretty much wore my own clothes because the way that they wanted to come across on television is, you start here, and then the progression of who you are as an artist just gets better and better every episode.
Right.
So for the blind auditions, those were pretty much my clothes, my personal clothes. But anything that you've seen me wearing after that, they have a stylist. NBC provides each artist with a stylist, and pretty much what we do is we send them pictures of how we want to look, or just a overall, I guess kind of like a template, if you will, of how we want to present ourselves on television. And they go and they shop and they buy all kind of things for us, and we meet with them days before the actual performance to try everything on and get it fitted, to get it tailored. So and they've done an immaculate job.
Sure did.
It is so good, right?
They just kind of followed your style.
Yeah.
They fitted you to a T.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a glove.
What about in those hats?
Right.
Oh, now when did the hats become like a signature?
So ever since I've gone bald, I've been wearing hats. I always wear hats, but I did want to kind of change the style of the hat that I wear on the show, because I wear a lot more urban and relaxed hats. But they said this is national television, so your hats have to be,
Break it up a little.
yeah, they have to be TV ready.
That's
So
right.
there were times when they would get local designers in LA to customize and personally make hats for me just for that one outfit.
Wow.
Yeah, like Mashika is one of the brands that I really like, and we're in conversation right now. Hopefully we can get some type of endorsement deal going on.
Wow, that would
that's
all
all
right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and the jackets were, most of them came from ASOS, which is a brand out in Europe. I think it's UK based. So a lot of my jackets they would purchase and get them shipped from Europe to Los Angeles. Sometimes they would be too big, or sometimes they'd be too small. And they have seamstress and tailors and people there to measure and. Yeah, so that was one of the better parts of the experience. You better know it. Yeah, everything I've worn, I get to keep.
That's nice.
And tell me this, is John Legend as genuinely nice as he appeared on TV?
He really is. Yeah. John, like as a person, he's a great husband. He's a great father. He's just a cool guy. Like there are times when we are on set and he's not even focused. He's holding his cell phone, watching the game, or checking the score, and stuff like that. But yeah, he's definitely on camera and off camera the same person. He's genuinely nice, real cool. He doesn't raise his voice too much. Just a real classy, sophisticated guy. So
Sean, he loves you.
yeah.
Sean, from the beginning. Sean. And we will rewind the show just to see his reaction to you. I mean, the way he embraced you, I know he's a big fan of yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of Sean.
The more we spent time with one another, I think we, began to like each other just as people. And then, every time I would hop on stage, I was a representation of him and his team. Because he's wanting to win, as am I. So, he was very, very happy and very proud of, my deliveries.
It showed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the goal. You want to make your coach proud. You want to, help him or her win, and inevitably, have a working relationship after the show. So, yeah.
So we were just so proud of you. We were fans, not only relatives, but great fans.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, and I just want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Oh yes.
Because obviously that support means a lot, and anytime anybody has voted, for me or streamed my music, anything that anybody has done to be a support system for me throughout this process, my humblest and most genuine thanks and appreciation.
Well, Sean, can you tell the audience about your Picayune roots, your Picayune connection?
Yes. Well, so Picayune is home for me. If you don't know, now you know. And you know, Picayune, small country town. I've come here pretty much ever since I've been a little boy for, you know, any given Thanksgiving or Christmas or spring break or the summer. And the majority of my family, you know, is either from here or lives here. Molly. Yeah, you know, so
Yes. That's how we do it.
yeah, this is my origin. This is home. Mississippi, Louisiana is literally home.
But did you stay here for a while when you were a kid?
No. Well, I lived in New Orleans until I was 2, and then we left and went to Los Angeles. And then from Los Angeles, we went to Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I went to high school. But you know, as far as me being here, it was pretty much on any time I got a break from school.
That's why it just seemed like you were here.
Yeah, because I was
You lived here for a while.
But there was a little time when you were little, you stayed here. I think you were like 1 year old,
Well, see, I wouldn't.
and y'all lived
He
on
didn't know it.
You were
Oh,
here.
okay,
You
yeah,
lived here for a while.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the right
Because
answer.
I used to change the diapers.
Oh,
That's how I remember. You were about 1. Yeah.
okay.
remember
Well,
that.
yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
On
yeah.
Clarendon?
Yeah.
That's
So we
right.
know you've traveled the world since
Right,
then.
yeah.
But we're glad to have you back in Picayune
Yes,
this time.
it's always good to
Sharing
come
your
home.
experience on the voice with us.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, one of my favorite songs is A House and Not a Home. Before I knew you were going to sing that, in my mind I was thinking, boy, if Sean does House is Not a Home, he's just going to blow it off the roof, and that's just what you did.
Yes, yes.
And so, Sean, what I recognize is that even though it's a Luther song, you made it your own style. You didn't do all the runs that he did, like some people were probably expecting you to do,
Right.
because those runs are his trademark, you know. But just in this setting, could you give us a little piece of House and Not a Home and do some of those little Luther runs?
Yeah, okay, so let's see. And turn the key, oh please be there, saying that you're still in love with me. Yeah. Are you gonna be in love with me? It's driving me crazy to think that my baby's still in love with me. Oh yeah. The voice.
The voice.
The voice.
The
Yeah.
voice. The voice.
Yeah.
And the sound.
And the sound. Sure, the
That
sound.
is so, that
Yes.
sound is so marketable.
you.
Yeah.
It is
Mhm.
so you, Sean Sound.
Yes, thank you. You know, and what's funny is I was at a show a few years ago, and this lady, she came up to me afterwards. She says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Well, you know, Sean Taylor." At the time, I was going by my last name. And she says, "That's okay." And I was looking. I was like, "What do you mean that's okay? That's my name, right?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "That's not a superstar name." She says, "You need a name that sounds like a superstar." And I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "I'll give it a thought." She was like, "Well, how about you call yourself Sean Sounds?"
Wow.
Right. This was in
Right.
conversation after a show, and I said, "Well, why Sean Sounds?" She says, "Because I've heard a lot of singers, you know, in my years, and I've never heard anybody that sounds like you. You have your own sound when you sing. You make every song you sing your own, and it sounds unlike anybody else." So she said, "That's your name, Sean Sounds." And she walked off.
Wow.
Now Sean Sounds is a household.
And now it's a
Household name.
So yeah, that's how a lot of people wonder, like, is that his real name? And it's not, you know, it's my stage name.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was gifted that name from a lady that I met one time.
And it
For
Wow.
fits you
sure.
well.
And it fits me well, and I love
It
it.
sure does.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Sean, since all of the travel and the experiences you've had through the voice, what's on your agenda now?
Right.
What's next?
So I definitely plan to go back home to Houston, and I'm going to have a celebratory welcome home party because you know the city of Houston is
Yeah, I know
excited
that,
to you know
Yes.
definitely receive me and celebrate me throughout my journey. So I definitely plan on doing that. I have a lot of press related things, you know, interviews and stuff like that lined up. And outside of that, my goal is to pretty much assemble a team of people so that we can start putting music out. And my goal is to eventually get a major record deal with a major
No
company.
offers yet?
I'm in conversation.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. but I am in conversation. And, you know, I've had people to reach out to me all over the world, offering me, you know, we have a review, a Motown review, we have a Luther Vandross review, we have this residency in Las Vegas. Like, there are all kind of opportunities coming, so I'm just kind of sifting through them and finding the ones that are best for me. But like I said, my end goal is to get a great record deal with a major.
Just know that was God's open door.
Absolutely.
To get you
Absolutely.
in there.
Just the foot in the door.
The rest of the way.
Yes, ma'am.
Amen.
So our prayers are with you that you go
Yes.
all the way to the top.
Thank you.
Now, I
All
was
the
going to
way.
ask you, do you think you and John Legend teaming up to do anything?
That's a good question. You know, his manager came up to me after my last performance, and you know, he kind of whispered in my ear. He was like, you know, man, I just want to let you know, John is very proud of you.
Yes.
He is very disappointed and upset that you know you
Like we are, like
yeah,
we
like
are.
most of America, most of the world who tunes in.
Uh-huh.
You know, he was very open about, you know, how John feels about me getting eliminated so close to the 1 week before the finale. You know, and he basically said, you know, anything that we can do together, you let us know. So he gave me his personal contact information. Yeah. So I haven't reached out to him yet because it's just been so many other moving parts. But as soon as I can spell label, I'm gonna
Amen.
Yep. So.
Great.
That's great.
Yes.
Now, we know that you have gospel roots.
Yes.
And so I think it would be only appropriate if we call in one of your favorite fans, your biggest fans.
Okay.
And also your auntie.
Okay.
Now I'm talking about none other than Bernice
T-Burn.
Norman Giselle T-Burn.
T-Burn.
We're gonna have T-Burn to come. We'll just stand around the piano like we used to do.
Okay.
And sing something.
Yes. Let's give our hand clap.
Can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. He's my friend. Pick me up and he turned me around. Pick me up and he turned me around. Pick me up and he turned me around. He's my friend. Oh, can't nobody do me like Jesus. Can't nobody do me like the Lord. Can't nobody do me like Jesus. He's my friend.
Woo! That was good. That was good. Hallelujah, T.
You didn't say
You supposed to say woo.
Once again, we'd like to thank Sean Sounds for being on our show today. We thank the audience for tuning in today. And we'll be back another time, another season, to share things with you, the things of Picayune, and the special guests of the times. And so, Brenda, Deborah, T-Burn, Sean,
Yes.
Charlotte, and I, thank you all. And we are filming from the show, Wake Up Picayune.
There's a special feeling I have deep in my heart, and it's for the place where I got my start, where I learned family values and community pride. Those who matter most to me, it's where they reside. Talking about my hometown of Picayune. Talking about my hometown of Picayune.